So I would like to start by conveying a decision that the panel took in these last 20 minutes, which is that the media are here, and we would like, and we make an urgent appeal to all the media that are here to give as much publicity as the media can to what is going on here. We understand that you have your constraints and so on, but particularly mention the entities implicated. That's the first thing. Secondly, I would ask the media to specifically publish our request that any entity which has read the media and who wants to come to the panel and make submissions to the panel, we would like them to do so, and they must contact they must contact the organizing committee of this group to make that evidence available. And finally, we'd like to see how many people come forward, and in the end also we would like the organizing committee please to make a copy of all the media, to make transcripts of all the verbal presentations that are made either on TV, on the radio, and to have them before us, because I think that the evidence leaders understand where the panel is going to on that issue. So it is going to be a very, very important issue. The panel would like to make that urgent request and trust that the evidence leaders and the organizing committee will do as much as they can to give as much publicity to the proceedings as possible, with the request that anybody who wants to come forward is absolutely welcome to do so. Right, are there any comments on that panel recommendation, or is everyone comfortable with it? Okay, I understand that there are no comments, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I understand that now you want to spend 10 minutes talking about the issue we raised in the morning, and well, I would hope that the panel decision this morning might have an impact on what you have to say, but yes, carry on.
Members of the panel, may I introduce myself? I am Francis Hobden, one of the evidence leaders for the tribunal. And we've been joined by Mkhululi Stubbs, who is also another evidence leader before the tribunal. We thank you for this opportunity to provide brief preliminary submissions on the issue of notice and Audi that were raised earlier this morning. And we may well make further submissions in due course or written submissions if necessary. But we thought it prudent, before further witnesses are called, to address this and allow comments from the public who are here and from the panel. The first point that we would like to raise is that in order to answer the question of notice and Audi before the tribunal, we need to answer three questions. The first is the nature of this tribunal. It is a people's tribunal. It is not a court, and it is not a statutory tribunal or a commission of inquiry requested by the President. It has no binding powers, and its purpose is to give a voice to the many people who have submissions they wish to make on these issues. We've been asked by the organizing committee to note that on the 19th of September 2017, a call went out for submissions across various public media outlets, and this was then extended. The second issue is the role of the evidence leaders, and perhaps calling us evidence leaders is perhaps the misnomer. The evidence leaders will be presenting to the panel the submissions made by people who responded to the call for submissions. We will be presenting this information. We will be drawing legal inferences where appropriate. We will be providing the legal framework in which to understand certain of the submissions made by the public. We may also make recommendations about what further action is required. And lastly, the role of the panel. The panel will be considering the submissions made by members of the public and may point to areas that require further investigation and consideration, either by civil society or politicians or other organizations, and the panel may suggest which legal forums the real disputes of fact and legal issues need to be determined. And with those three issues in mind, the evidence leaders take the view, and the organizing committee of the tribunal, is that no audi or notice is necessary for any persons or companies implicated in any of the submissions made by members of the public. And this is because this is a preliminary process in order to determine what further investigations need to occur or what further action should be taken. No rights will be determined in these proceedings. And all people who are implicated and against whom allegations will be made will have an opportunity for audi in due course before the relevant legal body or statutory body. That being said, the tribunal organizers have offered, if it would satisfy the panel, to allow written submissions from any persons implicated in any of these proceedings in order to ensure that they may respond to any of the allegations or facts that arise. But as Member Yaqub has noted, the panel's recommendation that these proceedings be well publicized and that entities that are implicated be particularly named will also assist with this to ensure that anyone or anybody who does wish to come and make submissions may do so. Thank you. That is all, and we will be happy to answer any questions.
Is that the end of the submission on notice, or are we going to have more?
That is the end of the submission on notice.
All right. So I think we must say that the panel anticipated that argument. We have decided to let you know now that depending on what happens in the evidence, depending on the submissions of the evidence leaders at the end, and depending on how far you want us to go, we will determine this question, not now, but at the end of the inquiry, because a lot depends on what happens in the inquiry, how much information there is, and how far the panel wants us to go. So we are glad that we've raised it, and we hope that you'll be sensitive to it. Let's not take much more time on it. And it may be that after all the evidence has been led, we might get much more informed submissions on the extent to which they have been noticed and how far on this evidence we can go and can't go without notice. We hope that we will get these submissions and we will consider them all carefully. Can I just ask the members of the panel whether they have anything to add? Yeah.
You said that a call went out on the 19th of September 2017. Could you at some point let us see whatever was in that call and also say the media entities that published the call, please?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions?
Well, thank you for alerting us to the fact that we should await the evidence, because we already saw from the first presentation that the parties they were critical of were put on notice. Yes, so I can see that that kind of thing will emerge from the evidence as well, and you alluded to that. Thank you.
Okay. I think the panel has its say. We may proceed.
Somebody's cell phone.
Cell phones.
Sorry, we're just attending to that little problem right now.
No, it's okay.